Hello and welcome, everyone. We're delighted to have all of you here. Very much looking forward to exploring coaching, certification, credentialing with you. This time is about you and getting your questions answered. So please make sure any additional questions that come up as we go, just type them into the chat box. I will be monitoring that all the way through. So happy to respond to additional questions. A few of you submitted things ahead of time, so I do have those questions. I think we've got everything built in. So hopefully this will cover what you wanted to know. In the meantime, I also want to share with you, you're investing your time exploring options with us, so we want to give back to you. And at the end of the conversation, I do have something for you, so that's coming. Diving in. So our agenda for today, we're going to start by defining coaching and then the journey to becoming a coach. That is where most of the questions are. We'll talk about coaching statistics and insights. We're going to walk you through the Center for Coaching Certification Staircase to Success coaching model and process. It's just a great way to understand how you actually develop the coaching relationship. And then it also will give you a basic layout of what the process actually looks like when you do a coaching session. Pros and cons of certification, because as much as we want to say it's all pros, yeah, there are cons. We get that. We'll talk about the reasons people choose certification with the Center for Coaching Certification, what to look for in a training program wherever you decide to go. And of course, we hope you come with us. At the same time, there are important things regardless of where you choose. We'll talk about opportunities for you as a coach, and then, of course, do a good overview of the programs offered. So getting started with the definition, this comes from the International Coaching Federation. And yes, I know you have questions on their requirements, so we're going to get into that. This definition, I think, is really significant in terms of the word choice. So when you really pay attention to it, it says coaching is partnering. That's a very important word. Because when you think about hiring a professional, maybe you hire an attorney or a financial planner or a therapist or whatever it is, you see them as the expert. And so they're on a higher level, if you will. In coaching, we're very much on the same level. We are there as a partner. It goes on to say it's a thought-provoking and creative process, which is super fun, that inspires them being the client, to recognize and maximize their personal and professional potential. It's an incredible process, and you'll see more in the statistics on the impact, the power of what coaching provides people. So when you're a coach, it's truly a privilege being on that journey with someone. Okay, in terms of that journey to become a coach, the gold standard really is the International Coaching Federation. They are a nonprofit organization made up of coaching professionals. This is truly the gold standard globally. There are other organizations. This is the biggest one, all around the world. And they have a lot of things in place. So first off, this is where our code of ethics comes from, which is a very important part of any program you take. Members of the International Coaching Federation, as well as credential holders, are accountable to that code of ethics. They have standards for training programs like ours. So we get accredited by the International Coaching Federation, and we have to renew that every so many years. So they're really evaluating the program. That's a huge priority. Whatever you do, make sure you get an ICF-accredited program. So they do accredited training programs. They have standards for membership, 60 hours of coach training to become a member. And then they also have standards for credentialing. Knowing this is where a couple of people had questions, and this is usually where the questions come up the most, let's take a look at that. So very specifically, if you want to be a member of the International Coaching Federation, you have to have 60 hours of coach-specific training. I did get the question, and this is a very common question, by the way. We have a lot of people who have degrees and master degrees and doctorate degrees, and they have lots of experience in other fields, and they want to know if they can use that toward ICF. And ICF is going to say they don't accept those things. The best way I can explain it, think about it this way. Imagine for a minute that I'm a dentist, and now I decide I want to be a cardiologist. And I say, well, I'm already a doctor. Why do I have to go back to school? I already have that. And, and it's very different. It's a very different kind of medicine. And yes, there is a lot of transferable skill involved, and it's very different. So yes, it is coach-specific training. For the ACC credential, the 60 hours of training are the exact same 60 hours that are required for membership. In addition to the training hours, they will require you to log 100 hours of experience coaching clients. If you work inside of an organization and you're coaching people there, that does count as part of your paid coaching hours. 75 of the 100 hours must be paid. You can have 25 that are volunteer. So if you're working externally, yes, it's building up to that. And we have a lot to help you get there to support that process. They also require that you have 10 hours of mentor coaching, very specific parameters around who your mentor coach can be and what happens during that mentor coaching. You do have to be assessed on your coaching. So it's done via recording. You record yourself coaching a client, you submit the recording and the transcript, there's an assessment, we discuss it with you, etc. Once you've completed all of those steps, then you can apply for the exam. And when you successfully pass the exam for the ACC credential, that's when you have that credential. For the PCC credential, you have to have 125 hours of training. So there are obviously additional training hours. You have to have 500 hours of experience coaching, so additional experience hours. You have the mentor coaching there. At the PCC level, you have to be assessed on 2 different coaching sessions. So there's 2 recordings that you're doing for that process. The exam is different at the PCC level. And then for the MCC credential, what's really important to note is that you're actually required to get and hold your PCC credential first. And you have to hold it for 3 years before you can even apply for the MCC. So for that reason, we're going to focus on those first couple of credential levels because that's where people are looking. So to give you a layout of what it looks like, we have an initial 30-hour program. It's called the Certified Professional Coach. And people say, okay, wait a minute, it's not even enough to become a member. This is true. The reason we do this, it is part of the level 1 and the level 2 cohort. So if you want to earn the ACC or PCC, it is part of those programs. The reason we do that 30-hour certification programs, we find we have a lot of professionals who have no intention of being a coach. They do want coaching skills. Anyone who's in a leadership role, and then there are a lot of different professional roles where they are expected to have coaching skills, and in some cases even required. So it's a fabulous opportunity in that regard. It also gives people a chance to dip their toe in the water, if you will, and say, hey, I want to check out this coaching thing, see if this is right. Because that first 30-hour program, you're going to gain so much value in it, whether or not you ever become a coach. And it's a great way to really understand, yeah, coaching truly is right for me. Okay, so that's our first program. If you want to become a member of ICF, obviously you have the additional training hours. So our second program is the Certified Master Coach. Again, it is part of the credentialing cohorts. So that does happen. For the ACC credential, specifically, you take those 2 programs and the mentor coaching, that is giving you what ICF requires. So very specifically, the 2 programs are giving you the training hours. You've got the mentor coaching. We do the assessing of your recording in our mentor coaching. Now, please note, not all schools do. Sometimes they require you to go somewhere else to get a mentor coach or go somewhere else in terms of the recording. So no, yes, it's all included. We take care of that. We're very much about covering everything for you. For the PCC level, in addition to the certified professional and certified master coach, we also have the certified advanced coach program. This is where you start specializing in a particular area. So if you want to do executive coaching, leadership coaching, ADHD coaching, weight coaching, career coaching, all these different types of coaching, this is where you're starting to focus in on your specialty for that. And then we have a coaching experience class. In addition to that, super exciting news coming. We're going to offer options on electives. So based on the type of coaching you want, you can take different classes that are specific to that type of coaching and apply that as part of the credit hours in lieu of that coaching experience class. So that's going to be a fabulous opportunity. We're putting those things together. And then, of course, you have the mentor coaching. As mentioned, for the MCC, you have to have your PCC first. And in a little while, I'm going to give you some numbers of how many credential holders there are. You're going to see there's not very many of us that do the MCC credential anyway. So let's go further. If we take those classes that I was just sharing with you and we put them here, now you can see what the programs are and how it moves you toward a credential. So very specifically, where you see a star inside the circle, those are programs that we offer. Where you see a check mark, that's something you have to do on your own. It is a requirement of ICF that you do that independently. And then there's a couple of things that are only through ICF. So here's what happens. When you start your journey, you take that certified professional coach. When you continue with the certified master coach, then you can do ICF membership. Now, what's important to note, they actually let you join as soon as you enroll in those training hours. This is valuable to you because if you are going to be a coach and you want to start counting those coaching hours, here's what we'll share with you. We're going to give you a certificate when you finish that first program. Go ahead and get enrolled in the second, and you'll be able to say to people, hey, I'm a certified professional coach and I'm a member of the ICF. And so that gives you some credibility when you put yourself out there as a coach and are seeking clients. When you finish that 30-hour program, you are totally ready to get going on coaching people. You will have the process, the tools, etc. So you'll be ready to go with that and start logging those hours. So you continue with the certified master coach class. Now, big question a couple of people had, do you want to do your ACC credential or do you want to do your PCC credential? And I'm going to say it depends. Depends on your circumstances and a couple of other things. So here's how to answer that. If you're going to do life coaching, career coaching, wellness coaching, etc., in most cases, the ACC credential gets you there. People are fine with that. If you want to coach executives or senior leaders in the corporate space, there is an expectation for a PCC level credential. It makes a difference in terms of who will engage you, who you can coach there, and also what you get paid when you have that PCC credential. So it can be valuable. The other part of deciding whether to do the ACC credential and the PCC credential, of course, is time and money, because obviously you can get to the ACC credential in a shorter period of time and with less of a financial investment. What some people do is they say, okay, I'm going to get my ACC credential and then I'll continue on and go get my PCC credential, which is totally an option for you. Some people say, I know I'm going to be coaching senior leaders and executives. I know I have to go for my PCC credential. So they enroll in the PCC program. And when they complete the required training hours and mentor coaching and recordings for the ACC, they'll take out their ACC credential while they're still working toward their PCC, because that way they have a credential. So there's choices, and I'm totally happy to have individual conversations to help you explore that by yourself. Everybody's circumstances are different. So it's about doing the right thing for you. All right, continuing on. Let's say you do those first two classes, you're going to do the ACC credential. So as soon as you finish the CPC, you can start coaching clients. In the meantime, you continue. So you'll have the mentor coaching program. And we meet all the requirements for the mentor coaching. Plus, yes, we're doing the assessing, and we also do exam prep. So we're going to help you get ready for the exam you have to take. Now, when you have completed those classes, your coaching experience hours, the mentor coaching, and the assessing on the exam, that's when you apply to ICF for the credential. They will invite you to take the exam. And again, we'll do the prep with you for that. Once you pass the exam, that's when they give you that credential. If you decide you're going to then continue on to the PCC, or if you're going to the PCC in the first place, you simply keep going on the journey. So for the PCC, you're logging the 500 hours of experience. So same thing, get started as soon as you take your CPC class, log coaching hours. Then you'll continue on. You'll have the certified advanced coach class. And again, that's where you start niching and specializing. You can do the coaching experience class, or we'll give you options on electives if you have special interests you want to do. You'll have the mentor coaching here. And in the mentor coaching, you are getting assessed on 2 different coaching sessions. You can submit up to 3. We're going to help you on what's required and et cetera, in terms of being assessed and passing at the PCC level. When you complete all of these pieces, then you can apply for the PCC credential. It's a different exam. We will do the exam prep with you. And then once you pass that exam, you have the PCC credential. So I think that covers all the major questions on this process. I do have one more infographic I'm going to share with you. And this is what people really want to know. How much time, how much money? Because those are the big factors. So for this diagram, to maybe help make it easier, if you want to do the ACC credential, this yellow column right here shows you everything for the ACC credential. So it's the certified professional coach, the certified master coach, the mentor coaching. All of those programs are here. This gives you how many hours each program is. Now, you can sign up for them a la carte. So a la carte means you're just going to take that first 30-hour program, and you can do that. And it's $19.95. And then you come back and you take the next one, and it's $21.95. And you come back and you do the mentor coaching. Alternatively, if you know you're doing those 3 and you want the cost savings, it'll save you $4.95. You can do the cohort, and it includes all 3 programs. You've got the full schedule there, and you're all set for the ACC. If you decide to do the ACC and then you want to come back, well, then you can take the other programs a la carte and complete what's required for the PCC. If you know you're going to the PCC level, because you're going to be coaching senior leaders, executives, you're expected to have that PCC credential. The cost savings over a la carte is $795. So that's significant. It is worth bundling those together and saving that. So you can do it how you want. Our job is to help give you options in terms of designing your commitment with the time, the money, and everything that's required. So it's all there. It's all built in. And as I mentioned, happy to talk to you individually based on your circumstances, what's going to make the most sense for you. And we can go there because it's different for everybody. Okay. So let's dive into the rest of our information. PricewaterhouseCoopers cites coaching as the 2nd fastest growing sector in the world. I do get asked on what's the fastest? IT. So yeah, IT, we can't keep up with that one. It is very exciting to see that coaching is a fast growing profession. It's out there. Forbes magazine, and I know this is very US centric and we have people all over the world. This quote, "Do you have a coach? If not, you could be limiting your career success." Now, this to me does apply. Amoco, which is now owned by British Petroleum, did a study on coaching over a 10-year period of time. And here's what they found. Compared to the other managers, the ones that had a coach demonstrated improved performance, increased ratings of potential for advancement, and 50% higher average salary increases. That's phenomenal. And the people that had the coach attributed their results to the coaching. and what they accomplish and achieve through that. That's hugely significant. Very exciting to be part of that process with someone. Dennison Consulting calls coaching a tool of choice in organizational development for both leaders and emerging leaders. We're definitely seeing that be the case. As far as that goes, we see it with organizations where we're placing coaches, very much happening. When companies hire a coach, what is their reason to engage coaches for employees? So here's the research. Harvard Business Review did this, and they said 48% of the time they are developing their high potentials or facilitating transition. We do have organizations where we provide a lot of coaches for this. So developing those high potentials, facilitating transitions into leadership or other changes that are going on. 26% of the time it's to act as a sounding board. This is what we see in the C-suite. So when you're talking the senior executives, the CEOs, the C-suite people, that kind of thing, they're good on action planning and goal setting and those kinds of things. What they gain from coaching is really phenomenal. It is a space for them to really think out loud, to have someone challenge their thinking, expand their thinking, have them considering different possibilities and perspectives. It elevates their processing, their thinking, their decision making. So it's a huge value for them personally and for the organization. 12% of the time it's to address a derailing behavior. Now, a few years ago, people thought, oh, well, there's a problem if you have a coach. And I would say, not what the investment companies are making. If they want to address the derailing behavior, they're investing in that individual because they believe that person can and will be successful once they address whatever's getting in the way, and a coach can help them do that. So it's phenomenal. Now, an interesting insight that came out of this study and let me say, interesting for people that aren't in coaching, it's very much makes sense. Once you're in coaching, you'll realize it. 76% of the time in these coaching engagements where it's all about the job, personal issues get addressed too. And it actually makes sense because whatever people have going on in their personal life, it's going to come to work with them. So having a coach helps them address that. And it means, okay, now I'm at work and I can really focus at work because I've got this handled. So it absolutely makes sense. Now, when individuals engage with a coach, sometimes they're hiring the coach themselves, sometimes their company is paying for the coach. So what's going to motivate them to put in the effort of working with a coach? Obviously, very common, establishing and achieving goals. They increase their self-awareness, which is huge. So much value in that. Confidence is a big factor. Sometimes people are surprised by that. And I got to say, most of the time it's a factor. I mean, all of us struggle with it at different levels at different times, and it can really be a factor in what people accomplish. Improving their communication skills, enhancing their emotional intelligence, creating work-life schedule that is healthy for them, advancing their career, leadership development, problem-solving skills and decision-making, and then increasing their own resilience and adaptability. So all of these make sense for people. Okay. Fortune magazine. Here's another US-centric quote. Business coaching is attracting America's top CEOs because, put simply, business coaching works. And the article goes on to say the average return on what is invested in that coaching is 600%. That's phenomenal. There isn't anything we can invest in that gives us 600% return. And coaching does that. So that's very, very exciting to see the research on that. I think one of the studies they probably looked at was done by Metrics Global. It's very commonly cited. There was one by Manchester Inc. There's a couple others. And here's what Metrics Global found. Coaching had a 529% return on the investment. And when they added in the financial benefits from employee retention, keeping the good talent, it boosted that ROI to 788%. Super exciting, super phenomenal. Now, there was a different study that looked at it completely different. Instead of looking at the bottom line, they looked at productivity. The normal go-to in organizations is to do training programs. And when they do a training program, the increase in productivity is 22.4%. When you do training plus coaching, you get an 88% productivity gain, 4 times the impact. And that's phenomenal. I think part of it is explained by this study done at Xerox, where they said, if you do training and you don't do follow-up coaching, 87% of the skills change gained ends up being lost. It's gone. So of course it makes sense to have coaching there. What happens? Well, think about it. We've all done training. You go to training, you're all excited. It's great information. Within a couple of weeks, you're just back to your previous habits, routines, whatever else was going on. And while you may have gained a little bit, a lot of it gets lost, most of it. So when you have coaching, what's happening is you're working with someone and you're exploring, okay, what are you doing? How's it working? How do you want to adjust it? What else do you want to be doing? And it keeps it there and present and ongoing in terms of incorporating what you learned. So it definitely makes a difference. In terms of how people decide who they want as their coach, according to Harvard Business Review, they're looking for 2 things. One is experience in a similar setting. The other is a clear methodology. So sometimes people say, okay, are you going to give me the experience in a similar setting? You can't get that in a training program. That's based on what you've done in your career and in your life, that you have that experience and you bring that to the table. The clear methodology is what you're going to get out of coach training. Very specifically, the process and how it works. And what's so great about it is learning the methodology, the process, the tools, the techniques, etc., gives you a framework, and it gives you an incredible amount of flexibility, because coaching is definitely flexible. It adjusts to the client based on what's going to work for them. All right, let's explore how we actually develop that coaching relationship. So we're going to compare building a coaching relationship to building a staircase. If you're going to build a staircase, first thing you do is put your framework in place. If you're going to build a coaching relationship, similarly, you've got to have a framework. And it is basically the same as in any profession. What's that framework going to consist of? Well, your training. You got to learn the work, how to do it. So that's important, whatever career you go into, very true in coaching as well. Through that training, you're developing your competency. That's the reason there's the requirement for the experience hours, etc. So you're developing your skill in training and by coaching people. And you're also getting your ethics. Now, good news, most people coming to coaching are highly ethical. They definitely believe in ethics. What's interesting is there are some very significant nuances to coaching ethics that are super important. So you really want a solid understanding of coaching ethics compared to other things. Okay, so let's keep going. The first step, once you have your framework in place in a coaching relationship, is an agreement. And this happens in phases. Initially, there's a conversation. Hey, what coaching is and isn't and how it works. You move into a formal agreement for a coaching relationship. And then every time you have a session, an agreement in terms of what the client wants to get out of that session, what they want to talk about to accomplish what they want. So that's happening on an ongoing basis every time you coach. Once you have your agreement in place, you're set up for the next step of understanding. This also happens in different ways. So it is incumbent on the coach to understand the client. Who are they? What is their context, their culture, their experience, etc., because it influences how they see things, what is going on for them, how they're going to move forward. There's so many factors involved. So really getting to know your client is absolutely essential. You also want to have an understanding of what your client wants to accomplish and how they want to move toward that. So it's really taking the time to understand the client and really listen to them. These steps, actually the framework and these steps actually support the step of rapport. Rapport is the #1 indicator of success in a coaching relationship. It means the client can really trust their coach. And when they can trust their coach, they can be open, they can be vulnerable, and it helps them accomplish so much more. That step sets up the communication, the open, clear conversation. So in coach training, you're learning some different things specifically around communication, how to elevate your listening and really take it next level. You're also learning language, word choice, because words truly have an impact in terms of how it comes across and what people understand from them. You also learn questions. Coaching questions are completely different than any other type of question. So learning how to formulate powerful coaching questions is an incredible skill, very, very important part of it. So with that communication, you're supporting exploration. The client is exploring, what are their opportunities? What are their possibilities? What are the potential barriers? What are the resources? And through that exploration, they are developing their strategy for how they're moving forward to the doorway called success. And success is defined by the client. So that gives you a sense of developing and building that relationship. Now let's look at what the actual process looks like. First off, it is a standard best practice to do what's called an introductory coaching session. It's 20, 30 minutes. The idea is to give the client a taste of what coaching is like, how it works, etc. They get a taste of you as coach. You get to know them a little bit, and you're really deciding, hey, is this a good match? And if you say, yeah, this is a good match, let's move forward, then you move into a formal coaching engagement and you have that formal agreement. When you have that agreement in place, you've got to have a really good intake process. So that opening session is part of your intake process. And we give you just an incredibly powerful way of running that opening session and the next one from that everything the client wants to accomplish, whatever their priorities are, etc., you're going to be equipping them to be completely focused on moving toward that and fully engaged in achieving what it is they want. Then on an ongoing basis, and this is super simplified because there are so many variables, ultimately, the client is going to prioritize what they want to work on. They're developing their strategies, their action plan. And yes, it's important to take time to look at progress and success along the way. And that's on an ongoing basis. And there are a number of things that can be pulled into this, different processes, tools, etc. So again, this is the very simplified version of it. Then the average coaching relationship, according to ICF, is going to last 12 months. Yes, you'll have coaching relationships that are much shorter. You'll have relationships that are longer. That's the average. So whatever the length of time in the coaching relationship, it's really important to be setting the client up for the long term. How are they going to maintain what they've accomplished through coaching, continue to build on it and grow it as they move forward after coaching? So you're setting them up for their long term. And we do what we call a closing session. And while we call it a closing session, one of the very important things we're doing is letting the client know the door is open, because when coaching will serve them again, they are welcome to come back. And please know they often do. Sometimes months later, sometimes years later, clients do come back because coaching is such an incredible tool to support people. All right. Hopefully that's giving some clarity, at least a general overview of how it works. Let's dive into the actual certification itself, pros and cons of it. So first off, the overwhelming majority of coaches agree that their clients expect them to be certified or credentialed. It's kind of funny. It's like people aren't aware that, oh, I should ask if my coach is certified or credentialed or that kind of thing. More and more they know to ask that question. So that number continues growing. In addition to that, in 2022, 85% had a certification credential. And that was up from only 69% in 2015, 74% in 2019. So you can see the trajectory. It continues growing in terms of coaches having that. 85% have a certification according to Entrepreneurs Headquarters, and 99% of clients are satisfied with their coaching experience. That's phenomenal. That really tells you something. Interestingly enough, I recently had someone contact me that they wanted a coach in an organization, and they were concerned the organization had invested in a coach and the coach did not do coaching. They didn't know how. They were consulting, which is a very different process. So yes, it makes a difference. All right, pros and cons for you on a personal level. I'd love to say it's all pros. Yes, here are the cons. Realistically, time and money. If it weren't for the time involved and it weren't for the investment of money involved, it's a no-brainer. Learning coaching just absolutely makes sense. Those are our barriers. Those are the key considerations people have in deciding whether or not to move forward in coach training. On the pro side, huge opportunity in terms of career advancement. As I mentioned earlier, there are many careers that expect you to have basic coaching skills. And if you're in any kind of a leadership capacity, you are expected to have coaching skills. So it's definitely an opportunity in terms of advancing in whatever career you're in. And of course, it's an opportunity if you're doing this as a business, whether it's part of your job, part-time business, full-time business, after career, whatever it is you're doing. Yes, you want to have the training to really do it well and do it effectively. It makes a difference. Here are some statistics. This is as of August last year. They update this every so often. There are 940 different schools offering level 1 to help people get to the ACC credential. There are 684 helping people get to the PCC credential. That means for everybody here, you have a lot of choices. There's a lot of different schools out there. It can absolutely be overwhelming in terms of how do you even decide. So we will dig into that. First thing I'll share with you is what people told us they cared about when choosing the Center for Coaching certification. They said, number one, credibility was a huge factor. And I'll give you some tips on how you can see whether or not an organization is credible. They also look at what's offered, what's included with the program. So the tools that we give you are phenomenal. And we can share more on that as well. The ongoing support. So a lot of times you go to school and then you graduate and you're done. Goodbye, you're out of here. We're not like that. We have an online community where people talk to each other, trade services, share opportunities, share tools, etc. So that's available to you. We have a Q&A call every month. You can come as often as you want for whatever you want to discuss because it's wide open on that. We have login pages with tons of resources in them. We do online programs to keep the learning going. So you'll have those options too. So there's a lot available to you. A lot of people like it for the professional development. So very specifically, in addition to giving you certification as accredited coach training, we're also an accredited CEU provider, which means you can use the credit hours from these programs for other credentials that require continuing ed. So we've had attorneys, financial planners, mental health professionals, medical professionals, people from all different walks of life use the continuing ed hours from our programs to renew their other professional designations. So that's pretty exciting. The personal development that comes out is absolutely phenomenal. It's such a win, how much we grow. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, and I keep growing every time I do a class. So it's definitely a cool thing. We also are going to give you a dashboard so that you can give assessments. No, you don't have to be certified. You'll literally be able to give dozens of different assessments immediately. And the cost is at wholesale. So it's phenomenal. Don't tell your clients how inexpensive it is, but that's going to be a resource we give you. In terms of how you decide, you're choosing between tons of schools. So how do you pick? All right. First off, look for these two logos. And yes, they're going to be updated soon. Right now, that's what they look like. If you're not seeing that front and center on the website, I'd be careful. You want to know that they're accredited by ICF, that they have that level 1, they have that level 2 for the PCC if you're going that route. So look for one, the other, or both of these logos on the website to make sure the school is accredited. Another huge accountability factor, and this is where the continuing ed comes in. We're also, and this is, I don't know of any other coach training school that does this. We're accredited by the International Accreditors for Continuing Education and Training. That's where the CEUs can be used to renew other designations. A lot of colleges and universities take the CEUs that we give out. So that's a big deal. And it tells you the rigor we go through because they follow the ANSI standards. Getting those accreditations is a big deal. Really shows you how much we care about both the content and how we're delivering it. The people in the program, I think that's a big deal too. So who comes to our classes? We have members from the Association for Talent Development, the Society for Human Resource Management, the Human Resource Certification Institute, Financial Planners Association, National Small Business Administration, Association of Image Consultants International, ICF, of course, the International Accreditors for Continuing Education and Training, because people get what that accreditation means. We see mental health professionals, consultants, project managers, and so many more. Ultimately, it's people who really love empowering others and supporting other people being successful. Absolutely a passion for that. By the way, the caliber of the people in the program is so valuable because you have such rich discussions in class. People add so much value to the conversation. When you look at coach training, another thing that's really, really important is to make sure you're actually in a program that supports you developing your competency. There are 8 core competencies from the International Coaching Federation. They're organized in 4 different areas. So the foundation demonstrates ethical practice and embodies a coaching mindset. This is very much in keeping with that framework of the staircase and having that. Then for co-creating the relationship, again, think about the steps up that staircase. Establishing and maintaining agreements cultivates trust and safety and maintains your presence. You're truly there with the client. Communicating effectively includes listens actively and evokes awareness. And then cultivating learning and growth, we have facilitates client growth. So the programs at the Center for Coaching Certification are completely designed to develop these competencies for everybody in the program, working with all different skill levels. And it's really phenomenal how it all comes together. And you complete the programs and you go, okay, I know what to do. I know how to do it. So it's very cool. Who's going to benefit from certification? It's so easy to say everybody. I often say I'm a better mom, I'm a better grandmother, I'm a better friend and family member and everything else because of learning coaching. It's a huge value. In terms of people professionally, anyone in leadership, training, education, consulting, management, human resources, project managers, service providers, business owners, there's huge value in the coaching certification. We talked about it as a career opportunity. So here's a couple of interesting quotes for you from Gallup. 86% of employees think their bosses are uninspiring. Okay, what does that tell you? If people think their boss is uninspiring, are they motivated? Are they productive? No, they're getting by and looking for something else. Harvard Business Review said coaching is integral to the fabric of the learning culture. It's a skill that good managers at all levels need to develop and deploy. So right there, front and center. In terms of your own skill development, what do you gain? The communication skills that come out of coach training are phenomenal. The listening, the clear, direct, respectful, assertive language, and then questioning and how to do that effectively. The people skills, recognizing different personal styles and knowing how to flex to different people. And then goal setting. What's really interesting to me is that the way a goal is defined makes a difference in terms of people actually following through on it. So, important information there. As far as a business, and I know a lot of people had questions here too. So, the hourly cost for a coach, and I'm giving you in US numbers. So, most of the time, you can translate that. If it doesn't quite translate wherever you're located, what I can share is think about what people pay for counseling or therapy, to think of like the ACC credential level, or what they pay a higher level consultant, which is more like the PCC level credential. That'll give you an idea of what an hourly rate is. So in the US, that's the range. The median is 500 and the average is 244. So per hour for coaching sessions. It is projected that by 2027, 125.1 billion US dollars will be spent annually on coaching. As of December of 2025, just this past month, the International Coaching Federation had 59,646 member coaches. And of those, 29,115 had the ACC credential, 26,789 had the PCC credential, 2,763 at the MCC level. So you can see, I mean, there's a huge difference. There are not very many of us that did the MCC. There's also a credential in team coaching. You have to get one of the other credentials first. And there's 979 now with that credential. So pretty exciting in terms of what's there, what's available. So it absolutely makes sense, whether it's an add-on service, a part-time business, a full-time business, in terms of the opportunities. So now let's dig into the programs and what's included in that. So the certified professional coach, that first 30-hour program, the classes, the first one is about coaching. We talk about what coaching is and isn't, debunking some of those common misunderstandings and myths, if you will. And then we also are doing a look at the competencies and what they are and what they're telling us. Then we move into a class on ethics. And I'm a bit of an ethics geek. I love ethics. I think it's a really fun class. We'll talk about scenarios and what to do, in addition to really getting an understanding what the code of ethics is telling us. Understanding your client is really fun. It's we say to people, bring your sense of humor, because we're going to talk about people and recognizing different styles and how people are approaching things, and then how to adjust to someone based on that. And of course, we're all different at different times. So it's very important in that class to have that awareness too. And we talk about that. Then we move into the class on communication, giving you some specific techniques. They're very simple to apply that elevate your listening. We talk about language, words that work and words that don't work. And we get into questions and how to formulate powerful coaching questions. Then in focus and motivation, we're adding another layer to the previous classes. So we're looking at people's learning style and how they think and process based on that learning style, and how you can support them more effectively by adjusting based on their style. We talk about their language patterns. The way they're saying things can really eliminate or hide information, and that can get in the way of clear thinking and choices. And then we talk about thought patterns and the way people are thinking about things and perceiving things, and where it helps them and where it can get in the way. With each of these classes, there's a homework assignment. And we've talked about this consistently with the trainers in the program. These assignments are so valuable. They're phenomenal in terms of what you gain from them. We do a group session. That's a great opportunity for Q&A. You can take a peek at the login pages and the assessment pages and all the other resources that are available. You can talk about what's coming in the coaching practicum, which is the next part of the program. In the coaching practicum, we pair you with other people in the program. So you'll have someone that you coach, someone's going to coach you, you're going to observe coaching, and we do a round robin through a series of coaching sessions, helping you each time. Hey, this is what the session is going to be, how to run it, what's going to happen, those kinds of things. So it gives you that process, which then, if you've heard the saying, learn the rules so you know how to break the rules, you learn the process and then you know how to change it and adjust it and flex your client. So it's very cool. At the end of that, there's a case study. I think it's simply a great review of what you gain from the program. You complete that case study. It serves as your final. We're actually going to walk you through it on what it is and where to find everything. It's pretty fun review. When you complete your certification, you have access to the Q&A call every month. We also provide recordings for you. So there's recordings on the business of coaching. There's recordings on marketing your coaching business. There's also recorded coaching sessions. So you can listen to those, additional value, et cetera. Those are on the login page that we give you. There's dozens and dozens of different tools there. These are a few key ones that people really care about. Now, the certified master coach classes, we start with one on group and team coaching because we're going to do group coaching as part of the program. Then we move into a deeper dive in the 4 different areas of competencies, more awareness in terms of, okay, what not to do, what to do. So it helps things click into place and just that deeper exploration of it. So we talk ethics and agreements, coaching process, people and communication, and then creating change with confidence. Then we do a class on time and money, because just as time and money really are the key considerations for whether or not to do coach training, when you're coaching clients, time and money are factors in most of the decisions they're making. Those are considerations, whether or not they're spoken about clearly and up front center on the table. They're definitely in the back of the mind of the client. So they're there. In this class, we split your homework in half. So you do half of it before class and half of it after class. Anybody who knows anything about adult learning, there's a lot of power in how that works. It has you thinking ahead of time. You go through the learning experience and then what you're gaining from it afterwards. So we give you questions you're responding to. The coaching practicum is designed differently. Every single class we do, the coaching practicum is very different, and that's intentional. You want to learn multiple processes, multiple approaches, etc. So in this case, first off, we're going to have the group coaching. Everybody in the class will have a turn to be a group coach, and we'll have a turn to participate in the rest of the group session. So that's part of the scheduled program. The individual coaching is done differently. So you're actually going to be interviewing classmates, and you're involved in selecting who you want as a coach, which means other people will be interviewing you and selecting you as coach as well. So you have that element very true to life in what happens when you're engaging new clients. Then you'll set up your individual sessions, and the process for those, again, is going to be different. There's a final debrief class and a final report you complete at the end where you're writing about a coaching engagement and what came out of it. In the certified advanced coach, the classes start with one on competencies and strengths. So we have our competencies, and now we're going to marry it together with strengths. One example in terms of one of the strengths is knowledge areas. So that experience you have in similar settings. And really doing a dive into what do you have, what's going to be valuable based on the type of coaching you want to do. For a lot of people, it helps them gain clarity on where they want to move in terms of a coaching niche. So it's phenomenal that way. Then we talk about engaging and understanding your clients. It's different depending on the type of coaching you're doing. So engaging an executive client versus somebody who's in recovery from addiction versus a wellness versus career, there are differences in all the different types of coaching. So talking about that really valuable. The coaching relationship itself will have variances. And of course, with each of these classes, as you're moving through, we're giving you some specific tools. We're talking about different theories and philosophies behind coaching relationships and the approach. We're talking about different tools for priority management and using those. Then we get into the client's future and how you're supporting them, setting themselves up for after coaching. We talk challenges and trends for you as coach. There's a lot going on in the world of coaching, so that's a really fun class. In this program, the advanced work is reading assignments. We actually provide all the reading materials, so that's part of it. Excuse me, and then you'll have homework assignments going as well. So we give you homework there or questions there too. The coaching practicum. Again, it's going to be a different process. So yes, we have group coaching again. And yes, we do the individual coaching. You'll be interviewing people again. And then the structure of the sessions is different. Intentional. We want you experiencing different processes and approaches for that. Coaching debrief and a final report at the end. For the coaching experience class, so you'll be able to take this class, or we have a number of electives available to you, and I can talk to you individually depending on what your interests are for that. So in this class, we're reviewing the competencies and how they're evaluated. We talk about the team coaching competencies because there are specific competencies for that. We have the group sessions. We have individual coaching sessions, again, formatted differently. So it's all about practice, practice, practice. And then we do a debrief. So that's the coaching experience class. Now for the mentor coaching, we start out with 5 90-minute group sessions. And in those group sessions, so the first one, we're going to explain, okay, this is how mentor coaching works and ICF requirements, et cetera, what has to happen to successfully complete, et cetera. And then we're going to start talking about the competencies and the specific behaviors that are observable that demonstrate your skill level with the different competencies, because that's what gets assessed. So it's helping you really know, okay, when I'm going to submit my recorded coaching session, this is what they're looking for. So we talk about it. And then we also do mini sessions in the mentor coaching group for people to practice with that. There's, in addition to the 5 group sessions, 3 individual sessions. So in those individual sessions, your number one priority is having a recording pass the assessment, whether it's at the ACC level or the PCC level. You are able to submit up to 3 recordings. So we're going to talk to you way ahead of time. Hey, this is the expectation, the requirements, et cetera. Set you up and equip you so you can successfully pass that assessment. You'll submit your first recording. We'll do the assessment. Then we meet with you and review that. So if you pass, great. You've got that recording. You're good to go. If you're doing the PCC, you'll have another one that you do. If for any reason you don't pass, that's okay. It's fine, because we're going to talk about it and where you're hitting the mark and what's missing and how you can adjust and that kind of thing. And then you do another one. For the ACC, you have to have 1 pass at the ACC level. For the PCC, there's 2 recordings have to pass at the PCC level. So when you complete your recordings, we also have a 360. The 360 is of your coaching competencies. So it's proprietary to us. And we find it's really valuable because you have clients send us the 360, you do your own, and then we share average score from clients, how you scored yourself, et cetera. And it really helps you recognize, okay, here's where I'm really solid, and here's what I want to work on, and that kind of thing. Absolutely about supporting you. The 5th group in the groups is when we do the exam prep, and that's for both ACC and PCC exams. So that's all part of that process. When you do a program with us, what's included? Oh my gosh, so much. So first off, all the class materials are included. We give you everything. We do it all electronically. When you graduate, we have login pages with even more, more good stuff, more tools and resources available. There's an assessment dashboard. I mentioned that we give you that, and that's yours. You own it. We bought it from someone else, and so we just give it to you. And then it's all yours, and you can do what you want with that. We work really hard to create opportunities. So specifically, we love having people guest blog, guest present, get published in terms of writing a book. We also love guest podcast. So we have that podcast going. So a lot of opportunities there. The presenting, for example, we do LinkedIn Live sessions, and it's a way to really highlight work that people are doing. The books that we put out, chapters are written by graduates of the programs, and then we publish those books. And so there's great opportunity there. In addition to that, we do have an online searchable website called Find a Certified Coach, and only our graduates can list themselves on that website. So if somebody's looking for a coach, it's one of the places they can go to find one. We also are a coaching provider. So we have another company called Coach 123, and we contract with organizations and provide them with coaches. So it's a huge opportunity for graduates in the program as well. So all of that's part of it. All right. So what's next for you? First off, I mentioned at the beginning that I had something for everybody at the end. Here's what it is. So a free 30-minute session. Some people want a mini coaching session. Some people just want to say, hey, I just want to talk about my circumstances and what makes sense for me and how I can tailor it appropriately or whatever else you want to know. So we can do that however you want to use the 30 minutes. So the way that's going to work, when this recording closes out, I'm going to put it on YouTube, and I will send everybody a link via email to the recording on YouTube. When you get that email, just respond and say, hey, I want that 30 minutes, and I'll give you a link to my calendar, and you can pick a time that works for you. So that's available to you. In terms of the application, filling out the application on our website doesn't cost anything. It's a really nice way to think on paper, to check the boxes. Okay, here's what's required. Here's what I can expect. It also helps us get to know you. What's your interest in coaching? What's your background? So that we're working with you based on who you are. So the application itself is free. When you know there's a class you want to take, and I can show you how to find schedules because I saw that question. So the way to hold your place in a specific class is the registration payment. So I'll show you how to find those class schedules and choose one that works for you. So if you could hang on afterwards, what we'll do is we'll go to the website and navigate. In the meantime, I do want to say to everybody, thank you so much for being here. Definitely appreciate your time, your interest. Glad to have you here. So thank you, and do reach out with whatever questions you have. I am going to stop share on the PowerPoint, and what I'm going to do now is bring up the website so we can go navigate together so that I make sure I'm getting those questions answered as well. All right, so here's the website. First off, in terms of all those infographics I was showing you earlier, on this green button, it says how to become a coach. If you click on that, on this page, it has all the infographics. So you can see the steps. You can see that this, where it showed you the journey toward either credential level. You can see the table with the programs horizontally in rows for a la carte, and then the columns for the cohorts to earn a credential. So that's all available to you. In terms of the training programs, so if you want to do the level 1 for the ACC, you can do the overview. You can also look at the class schedule. Level 2 overview, level 2 schedules. And then we also have the a la carte path. So let me do an example. Let's just say, okay, I'm going to get started with the ACC credential. I can come here to this page. These are all the classes that are coming up, and it gives you the dates of start, first class date, last class date. It gives you days of the week, time of day. So let's say, oh, okay, there's a class starting January 22nd. It's going to happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let me look at the complete schedule. So if I'm on Eastern time, it's at 6 p.m. If I'm Pacific time, it's at 3 o'clock. So you can go through and look at every class schedule that's here. These are the live classes, so you can make sure it works in terms of your schedule and you have that availability. If you decide you want to take the a la carte approach, schedules for individual classes are also available. You simply go here and you select which individual class. Let's say you want to do the certified professional coach. You select a class, it'll give you the schedule for that particular class. There are overviews there as well. So you can look at all the different classes and you can go through by tab and see, okay, here's what the program is. And as you scroll down, it gives you the learning outcomes for each class. So all of that's available to you. Lots of good information available under resources. The login page you can't get to. You could see that they're there. You can't log in until you are a graduate and you complete the program. There's a lot there. Same is going to be true on the assessment dashboard. So you can see the dashboards there. You just can't log into it until you graduate. At least it starts to give you an idea of the resources that are available. And if we do an individual meeting, yes, I can show it to people and give you more context in terms of what's there. So we'll make that available to you. I do want to say thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, your interest. Very excited about welcoming you to the community and to one of the programs. So please do check it out. Watch for the email. And if you want to schedule a call, we can do that. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you for your comments. I'm glad this was helpful to you. So that's great. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care.